Hey there. We in the United States are obsessed with the death of our republic. Many of us think the government is about to take everybody's guns and set up a dictatorship. Many of us also think that the idiot populism of Donald Trump is incompatible with the civility and the basic competence that we need to have a viable government. I'm sympathetic to both of these ideas, actually. But neither side is paying any attention to the biggest step towards the death of the republic that has been proposed this decade. It's a quick ticket to tyranny, and nobody is talking about it. I'm talking, of course, about the elimination of the state and local tax deduction. This could be passed with a Republican tax reform before the end of the year. The U.S. system was designed to have multiple centers of power. Independent power for the states is probably the most important part of the system of checks and balances that was set up by the folks who wrote the Constitution. This means that each state and locality has its own taxing authority. Different states are free to do things differently. The 50 states are laboratories of democracy where different things can be tried and different solutions can be arrived at. It's the state and local tax deduction that preserves this independent power. Most Americans have to pay an income tax to the central government in Washington, D.C., but they've always been able to deduct the state and local taxes that they pay from the money they send to the national government. This deduction actually predates the modern income tax system by over 50 years. Earlier generations of legislators knew that if they didn't have the deduction, states would be forced into a race to the bottom in tax terms, and individual state power would have been destroyed. Everybody would move to weak states with no taxes, and all power in the country would flow to Washington, D.C. We can argue over whether money is speech, but we can all agree that money is power. Today's Republicans have forgotten that basic truth. In this generation, states run by Democrats tend to have higher state and local taxes, so the Republicans see a short-term win. Congress can get more money for tax cuts elsewhere, and the Republicans get to stick it to the Dems. This short-sightedness reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how our freedoms are lost. It's not quick or dramatic or exciting. It's a slow process. Our freedoms are chipped away, bit by bit. The first Roman emperor had to pretend that the Senate was important and tried hard to pitch himself as just the first among equals. 300 years later, it was considered a privilege to crawl at the emperor's feet. It's the gradual centralization of powers we have to look out for, especially when it looks like the regular give and take of politics. More power centralized in Washington, D.C. is a lot scarier than a school board in Kansas banning books on evolution, or a city government in Chicago wanting stronger background checks for guns. Yet it's Mickey Mouse bullshit like this that we're expected to freak out about, while nobody pays attention to the massive power grab that Congress could enact as soon as this week. States' rights has a bad reputation nowadays for some very good reasons, but we have to acknowledge how important a part of our system this concept is. Our independent state and local governments are our most valuable tool against the centralizing power of Washington, D.C. The U.S. Constitution doesn't really work without them. Once eliminated, the state and local tax deduction will never come back. It won't be obvious immediately, but this move by congressional Republicans will kill those laboratories of democracy we used to hear about. My favorite Benjamin Franklin story goes like this. It's Philadelphia in 1787, and Benjamin Franklin is walking out of the Constitutional Convention. One of his supporters runs up and goes, Mr. Franklin, what kind of government do we have for these United States? And he supposedly says, a republic, if you can keep it. We need to be constantly vigilant against threats to our system. The largest leap towards the death of the republic that has been taken in this decade is the elimination of the state and local tax deduction. And nobody is talking about it. We should probably change it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And if you'd like to help me make more videos like this one, please click on the Patreon link here to find out more about my crowdfunding thing. Thanks.